Mic check, 1, 2, we on. Hey, what's up, y'all? And welcome to the 31st episode of Trippin with Theobold. I'm your host, Andre Theobold. And as y'all know by now, hopefully, that the show is called Trippin with Theobold because I be tripping in speech and I trip in thought. I trip literally and figuratively. Like I said, growing up, grew up with a speech impediment. It's not all the way gone yet, so whenever I have a hiccup or I stumble or stammer over a word, I just say, come on, Dre. And I move on with life, And then in addition to that, the show is called Trippin with Theobold because I trip figuratively in thought. Like I have a lot of crazy ideas, so I just go on and just throw them out there. But before we get any further, make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Tell a friend to tell a friend. Right now, we are still at Kirby Jackson number of followers. And as y'all can see, I'm a Bills fan. And I'm trying something a little different, Kirby Jackson was a defensive back for the Bills during the Super Bowl run era, so he wore number 47. So we're at 47 number of subs. And if you tell a friend and tell a friend, I can be at Tremaine Edmonds' number of subs, right? And Tremaine Edmonds is the current inside linebacker for the Bills. He wears number 49, so I'm at 49 subs as of now. Let me fix my levels right quick because I'm not liking how my levels are looking right now with the volume. Let me go ahead and take this down a couple dBs. Let's try that. Okay, there we go. So let's get on with the promotional part of the show where I promote things that I wear and things that work for me. So right here, hold on if I can pull it up. Bam. Hey man, Hoka. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. Is it Hoka? Hookah? Hoka, however you say it, man. The Hoka Bondi 7s, man. Them joints look like some old man shoes, man. But, man, them Hoka 7s. It's comfortable, man. Man, like, these things are perfect for walking the Las Vegas Strip. Like, when I go to Vegas, I like to bring some of my like, sporty shoes, my NBA kicks or whatever, and a lot of NBA kicks aren't that comfortable, They just look nice. So you can't really walk too far on the strip with some NBA kicks. But these Hokas, man, I was walking, I was just floating up and down the strip. Like it came to a point where I was like, man, I don't care how my feet look. These joints is comfortable. So go on, get you a pair of Hokas, man. Or hookahs, however you say it. Yeah. But now I was looking for a good running shoe. See, the problem with Hoka is their color combinations aren't that great. Like they need to hire me to do their colors, man. Because, see, like these shoes here, I got these exact shoes right there, and like they look plain, you know what I'm saying? But to me, like I'm not a fan of like white soles on shoes, period, because they get dirty and then they're harder to clean. But it would have been dope if they had a pair that were like gray with a black sole, you know what I'm saying? Or like a neon with a black sole to it. Like, it's like neon yellow or green with a black sole. Like, but whatever. I mean, if you care about comfort and working out and, being comfortable, I think I said that already, then yeah, you're going to get you a pair of Hokas. You know what I'm saying? Hoka to me, I mean, not just, here's the thing, right? I read, come on, Dre. So I've read reviews on other shoes, right? So you got the Bondi 7s, and then you got the Cliftons. Like they have like 5 different like models of shoes, and to me, the Bondi 7, like I did my research on the Bondi 7s, and people were like, "Yo, just get them, and you'll thank yourself later." But the Bondi 7s to me right now, like man, when I'm on the treadmill, when I'm working out, when I'm jogging, so it's so good on your knees. You don't have any pains in your foot. It's a good shoe. So get you a pair of Hokas. What else we got, man? So that's all I'm gonna promote for today. But real quick, I wanna give a shout out to the Los Angeles Rams, man, for winning Super Bowl. Well, this is weird. Why is it doing that? Okay. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to the Los Angeles Rams for winning. Whoa, this is getting a little weird. Okay, go away. There we go. Yeah. Yes, I want to give a shout out to the Los Angeles Rams, man, for winning Super Bowl 56. I'm not a Rams fan, but I just give credit where credit is due. I'm going to talk about the Super Bowl later. I'm going to talk about the Super Bowl later in the show. But yeah, shout out to the Rams. They did their thing. With all the money they spent, they better have won that Super Bowl, man, because they went all in. They bought a new stadium, got new uniforms, got all new players, not all new players, but they got Odell Beckham Jr., they got Von Miller. Like, they were just stacking up their roster. So if they didn't win, I think that would have been the greatest tragedy in NFL history, man, to go all in and get nothing in return. So, what else are we gonna talk about today? So right now I'm doing my daily fantasy sports. And right now I'm contemplating giving up on Line Star, but not just yet. I have another couple tricks up my sleeve I'm going to try. And if everything comes through and I can at least pay for my membership, with my winnings, I'll keep messing with Line Star. But I think Line Star is about to come to an end with me, because there's so much data that they give you on the Line Star website. They give you all this data, and more data doesn't equal better data, right? Like, you want to be able to look at certain things. And one of my complaints about Line Star is it's hard to, or I don't know how to, right? Let me just say I don't know how, right? But on the app, I know that you can't extract the data and put it into a spreadsheet, right? Like, if I could extract this data from Line Star and put it into a spreadsheet, man, I would be coding up all types of neural networks, man, trying to crack the code to getting my millions so I can tap out of this 9-to-5 shit. I forgot. Yeah, I can cuss now because I'm way past the 2-minute mark. Whew, man. Now I know how YouTube be doing, man. Like, they be looking at that clock. If you cuss before 2 minutes, man, your video's getting pushed to the bottom. You know what I mean? So, but what else about Line Star? Yeah, the one thing I don't like about Line Star, man, is they'll be updating their let me do something right quick. Sorry, I got sidetracked. You see how this looks. Okay, whatever. Now another thing about Line Star, man, is what they'll do is they'll update their data while you're looking at it. So as you're trying to scroll through to look at patterns and stuff, it'll keep jumping. It'll just keep jumping around, and now you got to go back and you be getting dizzy looking at that shit. You man, yo, will you just keep the data still so I can see what I'm doing? So yeah, Line Star. I've been on Line Star for, man, at least 2 years, I think, probably. I'm always looking for something different or something that's going to give me the edge when I'm playing fantasy sports. And they have some the way they present their data is pretty efficient in some ways, but in other ways it's not, so I don't know. Like I said, I have a couple DraftKings lineups in play right now. So I tried a new strategy and I want to see how it's going to turn out. So wish me luck. So let me go ahead and talk about my Vegas trip, because as y'all know from last episode, I may or have not been in Vegas at that time, but now I am not in Vegas, or maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But yeah, I was in Vegas. Boom. Okay, I'm lying. I was in Vegas and I stayed here in Park MGM for the first time. Like every time I go to Vegas, I try to like change up and stay in a different hotel to get a different perspective of the strip, you know? Like back when I was in Iowa and I had to fly out, I was trying to be a cheapskate, you know what I'm saying? Because I like to have more money to gamble with. So for like the first 5 years I was in Vegas, I stayed in the Luxor. You know, I was luxing it up. You know, I stayed in the tower like a few times I stayed in the tower. Sometimes I stayed in the pyramid. All right, but then I was like, man, it's getting old staying in the Luxor. So I started staying over at where MGM. I stayed at MGM one time, and MGM was interesting. MGM, it was kind of pricey back when I went. But I remember like just the green lights of the hotel like shining in my windows, right? And it felt like I was in the house of the Riddler, you know, like everything was green, like the lights coming in were just so that green is strong, you know. And then after that, I think I stayed in the Alara a few times. The Alara is like right behind Planet Hollywood. You know, that's a real upscale. I mean, it's not really upscale, but it's like more modern, right? It's one of the more modern hotels. And then the last time I was in Vegas, I stayed in the Mirage, and the Mirage is like my favorite hotel probably. Like the Mirage has that upscale '80s vibe to it, man. Like I just love the Mirage, man. But I got to mix it up, right? And then one time when I went, I stayed in the Imperial Palace, right? And it's not called IP anymore. It's called the Q Link or whatever it's called, the Link or the Q Link. But Imperial Palace, when I last went, man, that shit was some garbage, man. Like that had like a late '70s, mid '70s kidnapper motel vibe, you know? It's a big hotel, but you get in rooms, it's dark, it's danky. Yeah, it just wasn't a good. Yeah, I wouldn't stay. I mean, I'm willing to try the Link again, or the Q Link or whatever it's called. But I mean, if it's anything like the Imperial Palace, man, can't mess with it. But anywho, I stayed in the Park MGM. This used to be known as the Monte Carlo. I always wanted to stay in the Monte Carlo, like back when I first started going, but the prices they were asking for it, I was like, nah, I can use that to gamble. So, like that's what I do, right? Like I could probably afford to stay at any of the hotels on the strip, but I'm there to win money. I'm not there to be in a hotel. Like I'm very rarely in a hotel when I'm in Vegas, you know. I'm out walking around trying to get these bets laid down and working these tables and stuff, you know what I mean? So but what else, man? So let me go and tell you about my trip, right? So I left LA I left Southern California at around maybe like 10:30, I think, you know. Had to stop at the bank on the way from LA to Orange County. Took out some money in cash because I only deal with cash. I don't go to Vegas with no card. And what happened, man? I left at a good time and I got to Vegas like at 3 o'clock. Remember, I got there like at 3 o'clock on the dot. I got there right when I was supposed to check in. So I never did that before. Like I'm always either like 2 hours late because of traffic or I'm like super early. But I got there at 3 o'clock on the dot. I pulled up, had the valet go park my car, and then I had the bellhop dude come through. And I made my first mistake. All right, when I got there, I had like all hundreds, you know what I'm saying? And I should have broke one of my hundreds, you know what I'm saying, to give a tip to the bellhop. So I didn't have any like tips on me. So, you know, when I was actually getting my stuff onto the bellhop cart, it was his brother, this older dude, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, you have 5 pieces of luggage, and I'm gonna take them up to your room. You do blah." You could tell from like his facial expression, you could tell that he's like, "Yeah, yada yada yada, this, that, and the third." Like his demeanor was very melancholy. But when I gave him the 100, man, his face lit up. He was like, "Oh man, hey brother, good luck." And I was like, "Oh man," I'm like, I messed up. I shouldn't have gave this motherfucker no 100. Gave this motherfucker 100. Made his day. You know what I'm saying? I could have gambled that, but whatever. I mean, You live and learn. Now I know when you go to Vegas, make sure you break 100 so you can tip valet and the bellhop. So what happened, man? After that, went to my room. Then it was kind of confusing because I had to call bellhop to get my stuff, and it was like they gave me a card, but there was no number on the card, so I had to like actually call like room service, and I had to go through them to get my stuff up. And this one dude brought it up, and when he brought it up, he was like, "Yeah, man, you know he worked for tips." And I'm thinking to myself, man, you better go holler at your boy, man, because I gave y'all 100. I gave him 100, so y'all got 100. I didn't tell him that, but I'm like, hey, man, I don't have anything on me. I'm like, hey, man, you Cash App? He's like, nah, we don't do that. I'm like, okay, well, I can't help you then, you know? So, that was that. So, so went out. What I do that night? First day I went out. See, the problem I had in Vegas this time, man, and I think I always have the same trouble, is I have a strategy, but I don't stick to my strategy, you know? Like, when you go to Vegas, you gotta stick to your strategy, man. If you don't play table games like that, you probably don't want to really like fool around with table games like that until you get a lot of money to where you can like go and just blow it off, right? Excuse me. So that's the thing about Vegas, man, is when you get there, like you feel like you're in a rush. Like, oh, I gotta get dressed. I gotta. Where am I gonna start? Where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna like? And you're just kind of doing this, you know. And then when you get out there and you rush to get out, and then let's say you walk far away from your hotel. Now it's like, man, you're like, man, I wish I didn't walk this far. Man, I wish I didn't walk all the way down here. And then you drag your feet back, take your ass to sleep, and that's that. But now I messed up, man. Like what I should have done was, I should have just started with slots real conservatively, you know. But I don't play slot. I don't gamble like that. But it was like I should have stuck with slots to begin with. So, but the one thing I did do right was I put my bets in. Like I get in early on Thursday, and I put my Super Bowl bets in, and I bet on the Bengals scoring exactly 34 points because Matt Groening from The Simpsons had an episode where the Bengals played the Chargers in the Super Bowl and they won 34-31. So I was trying to like find, I was trying to actually put both bets in for 31-34, like 31 Rams, 34 Bengals. But when I was at MGM or Park MGM, the Aria is right next to Park MGM. And when I tried to go to their sports book and I looked at their books, man, they had like hardly any bets. Like there was no parlays. They didn't have the parlay sheet. They didn't have the exact score. It was like maybe like 1/5 of what the book normally is. So I had to walk all the way to Caesars to see their sports book. And when I looked at Caesar's sports book, they had like the exact score for the Bengals and the Rams. But the one thing that was weird about the Aria is, and it's kind of this like really threw my game off. But the Aria had this like as soon as you walked in, they had this what do you call it? They had like people or like reps that were trying to get you signed up with the card, you know. So basically, you sign up for like they're like Players Club Rewards card, and you can then download the app, and then you can put bets in or sports bets in on the app. You can do like you can then go cash in at a kiosk, get your money out. And the first thought that crossed my mind was, man, I don't want to have a bank account linked to this shit, or I don't want to have a credit card or a card linked to this. That's the whole reason why I come to Vegas. I come to Vegas to play with cash. But then I thought to myself, now I don't have to rush down to the room or rush down from my room to stand in line to put a bet in, you know, because sometimes those lines get long, and if you don't get your bets in by the right time, you miss out. So I went ahead and I signed up for the app, put some money in on my card, and I did my NBA parlay bets on there, and Um, one night, I think it was Saturday night because a Friday night was like a 3-game night. Then Saturday night was it Friday? No, what was it? No, sorry, it was Friday night. I got there Thursday night, so I got there Thursday. So Thursday was the 3-night game where they had 3 games on the slate, and then Friday night was what was it? Friday night was the 7-game slate, and I hit a parlay, and I hit that 7-game parlay, man. I put down 25, and I won $650 off of that joint. So I was feeling good. Like I was just like, okay, now I can really start to like get dangerous. Then I messed around the next night and tried to do an 11-leg parlay, trying to win a couple racks or a couple tens of racks or 20 racks or whatever it was, and don't work like that. So anywho, what was I gonna say? Yeah, man. So it was a fun stay, But like I said, Vegas is like there's that fine line between staying too long and staying too short, Because if you stay for like 3 days or less, it's like too fast, right? But if you stay for like more than 5 days, it's too long because you done seen it all, But I felt like a little rushed at times, but my whole goal of going out there was just to get ahead, man, to come back with some racks. I went out there with a couple $100, and like my thing is, I'm not gonna try to come back with just a couple $100. I'm trying to come back with a couple racks, and that didn't happen. Oh well, but had a pretty interesting stay, man. I remember, I think it was Saturday night. Was it Saturday night? Yeah, it was Saturday night. I went back to the Aria to go go and watch the conclusion of the Lakers and Warriors game. If the Lakers would have came through, which they almost did, I would have came back with a couple racks, but it didn't happen. But now I'm at these white dudes, man, and we were talking about like the Lakers game, and we were like talking trash and stuff, and I'm like, yo, man, like we're talking like just like game strategy. Like, look, the Lakers, all they gotta do, like, look, the only one that should be shooting that ball is Malik Monk. Everyone else need to take that ball to the hole and play defense. If they do that, they'll make the playoffs. They probably won't win the championship, but they'll make the playoffs doing that. But if they keep doing what they're doing now, they ain't gonna make the playoffs. Real simple, right? So we're talking, laughing, talking, joking, or whatever. And then one of the dudes was like, hey man, you wanna come to our suite, man? Hey, we're gonna stop by the suite right quick, man, and then we're gonna go out, man, and you got these parties and blah blah. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna mess with no party because I don't be doing that. But now I didn't tell him this. I'm just like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I really don't do parties, but I'm like, I'll go up to your crib, see what y'all talking about, and then afterwards I'm gonna go do my own thing, So I go up to their suite, man, and irony is a motherfucking, because y'all remember where I was last week, right? Or where I was last week, right? Let's see if I can find it. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Okay, all right. Y'all remember this photo from last week? So they were in the Vidara, and the Vidara is about right where this is, and this was the exact view from their suite. I kid you not. Like this was their exact view from the loft that they were in or whatever, right? So I get up in there or I get up in or we go to their loft or whatever, and they're trying to like, do shots and all this other kind of stuff, and I'm just like, I don't really, I got my wine right here. I'm just chilling, I'm good. It wasn't even wine. I had Moscato, man. I'd be sipping that weak shit, but whatever. So, the dude that actually owned the suite or that had the room, he was like eating pizza, but he was looking at me like real weird. Like he was like, "Who the fuck are you?" And I could tell this motherfucker like wasn't like cool with me being in the suite, Like he gave me that look like, yo, are you a narc? Or like, yo, why are you in this room? Like he just kept staring at me, man, like real weird. And then And then we ended up playing this game called Left, Right, Center, right? And that's a fun ass game to play, you know. I'm actually gonna get the dice, right? So it's like you get like 3 die. I'm not gonna explain the game. Y'all can go Google that shit. Google it. I'm not gonna explain Left, Right, Center, but it's a fun. Just trust me, it's a fun game when y'all play it. But anyways, yeah, we were up there playing Left, Right, Center, talking shit, and then the one dude who invited us all back up to his room, he went to the bathroom, and the dude was like, "Oh man, what are you in there doing, dude? Are you in there taking a shit?" And he came out and was like, "Nah, man." He started fucking with his nose, and he had a whole different demeanor. Like he was just kind of like he was high. So I was like, man, I don't smell no weed. I don't smell no ham, because you know when people get drunk, they be smelling like raw meat and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he came out and he was high. So I didn't smell no raw meat, and I didn't smell no weed. So I was like, yeah, he fucking with that powder. he fucking with that coke. So I was like, oh, that's why the dude was looking at me weird and was acting weird, because that motherfucker was high. So anywho, you know, we were up there laughing and goofing off or whatever, and then maybe for like, I think I was up there for maybe like a half hour. Then we all went back downstairs. I had to go to the bathroom, and I said, look, I'll be right back. And when I came back, they were gone. So that was a fun little experiment, a fun little social experiment. You know what I'm saying? But they were cool, man. You know, like no complaints. You know. Oh, but the one thing is this is how like I know. Like white privilege is like real. Like if y'all don't believe in white privilege, I mean, I don't know what to tell y'all. But anyways, now these dudes, man, like, oh man, like basically what happened was they got banned from another hotel for doing something like stupid, and they still walk up in that shit. And I'm like, man, yeah, I'm not gonna go into any details because I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, you know. What happened? That was weird. Let me do that again. Okay, that didn't. Okay, it was like from my end, like my camera just like froze and did something. I'm not sure what it did. Maybe it's them people. Or maybe it's Big Brother. You know, he probably is letting me know that hey, he's listening in on this conversation. But no, that was that, man. You know, it was a fun. That was a fun little excursion or whatever it was, you know. And then that night, I think I ended up going down to like the Bally's area, and I went down to Yard House, because there's a Yard House down there in Vegas now. And in the Yard House, they have like they have this salad I like, you know. It's the ahi crunch salad, but I like the ahi. I like the ahi tuna. I like the ahi seared tuna with the Caesar Roman. That's my joint. Like that's in the Brussels sprouts, but. Okay, enough details. Okay, that's nice. I'm getting off topic. What else we got going on here, man? Yeah. So so I was playing blackjack, man. I tried my hand at blackjack. And with blackjack, for those of y'all that know, you got to know basic strategy. Like that's the first foundational thing you have to know is basic strategy. Which is a big ass table, and you have to know it by heart. And in order to count cards, you have to know basic strategy, you know. But in addition to that, you also have to, like, I think in Vegas, you have to like be aware of, you have to like what's the word I'm looking for? You have to be able to manage your dealers at the table, you know. Because if you don't manage your card dealers, man, they gonna walk all over you, right? So for example, when I was playing blackjack, it was this one dealer, he would deal out the cards. And as he dealt my second card, he would like tell me like what to do, right? Like with his hands, he'd be like this. Like as soon as he flipped the card, he would go like this. Like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? And when I came to the same conclusion, you know, I would be like, okay, pass or whatever, you know. And then I would lose, right? But then one time, like when I got down to my last $25 at that table, he basically dealt my second card. And when he dealt my second card, I was hitting the table, and I kept hitting the table, and he wouldn't hit me. So he turned everything over and was like, sorry. I'm like, Oh, okay, okay. So you have to like know basic strategy. You have to like know how to. I mean, if you really want to win, you have to like learn how to count. But then you also have to like know how to like have leverage over your dealers. You know, like talk to that motherfucker and be like, "Yo, man, you ain't gonna hit me, my man. I said hit. Like what the fuck? Like what is this? This is hit, right?" So there's so much going on that you have to like go in there with that mindset. And you just have to practice. Like I feel like with blackjack, it's like muscle memory. You have to just go in there and just do it. Like you have to play at home a lot, which I haven't done. You have to play on the computer, play at home, play with friends, and just simulate. You know, with no money, but just practice like the mechanics of it. So when you go, it's like you're not thinking about it. You know. Then what else? Um, yeah, I played so I messed up with slots, right? That's where I messed up with slots, right? When you go to a slot machine, you don't put a whole 100 up in there, right? So what I did was I put a whole 100 in, thinking I'm gonna go and win money, and man, that slot machine sucked up all my money. It went sucked all my money up. Took that 100 in like 5 minutes. But the way you do it is, you know, you break up your 100 into 20s. And then on day one, a strategy could be, you know what, I'm just going to do one hit and see what happens, right? So you go to a machine, you hit one time, just do one hit. You know, if you lose, you get up, cash out, get your voucher, go to another one. If you win, same thing, cash out the voucher, go to another machine, you know? Because that way we know what will happen is you're playing different machines and it makes everything more like random, right? So when you do that, like you could be increasing your odds of like, you know, getting more money, and also you're moving around like the whole venue and you're getting a feel for the slot machines in that casino. So day one should be just, you know what, just be real conservative, see if you can't build your money slow, right? Move around, build your money slow, be conservative. Then like on day two, I don't know, maybe do like 2 hits, right? Or say, you know what, I'm gonna try to see. I'm gonna try to like, you know, I'm gonna get out when I lose half of what I put. I'm gonna come on, Dre. I'm gonna get out when I put half in, or when I get half down, I'm gonna get out, right? But if you win, I'm gonna call it win double, back out on half, right? So if you put in like 20 and you get down to around $10, just go ahead and cash out, get your voucher, go to the next machine, right? But if you double your money, right? So if you put in 20 and you come out with like 40 or more, cash out, walk away. Same thing, right? Do that strategy for day 2, right? And then day 3 is when you start kind of saying, you know what? I'm trying to burn this money. I'm trying to just burn this joint, right? Because on the last day when I left, I took a 20 and I'm trying to like blow the rest of my money, right? Which is like, it's just like a couple hundred. It's not that much. It's not. I don't want to sound conceited, but in Vegas, a couple $100 is not a lot of money. But I was trying to just like get rid of it because, like I said, my rule is when I go to Vegas, I go with a couple $100 and I either want to come back with a whole lot of racks or nothing, right? So when I was trying to leave the Aria. I was trying to get back on the road. I put my 20 in this one slot machine, and it just kept giving me money. Like it just kept giving it to me like I was like, man, if I would have kept playing it, I would have got 100, right? But I looked at the clock and I said, man, I gotta go. So that's what I'm saying. The strategy I just outlined right then and there is like a strategy. Like there's lots of strategies that people have, but my thing is, it makes sense to be more conservative on day 1 and then more risky on your last day, right? Because the whole point is you wanna the entertainment is you gambling your money, right? If you run out of your money too fast, then the rest of your trip is gonna be trash. You know what I mean? But if you go there, and if you hold on to your money too much, right, and you try to blow it all at the last second, that experience isn't that good either, right? In my opinion, you know. So, anywho, what else, man? Oh yeah, remember I was talking junk last week about the kombucha bottle. So, kombucha bottles don't work good in Vegas. All right, so your best bet is to get a Gatorade bottle and just put whatever alcohol you want to put in there, and then walk with a Gatorade bottle. Because I went to my valet to go get my shades out the car on Friday morning, and I had my kombucha bottle sitting on top of like this little like structure, this little plant thing or whatever. And when I went to move and turn to grab my bottle, I knocked it over and it hit that concrete, man. And Vegas is like, I don't know what it is, but like it just seems like the concrete in the ground is just it seems like it's a whole lot harder, you know. So right when I dropped my bottle, I knew it was gonna break. I was like, yeah, it's a wrap. And that thing shattered, man, like in 1,000 pieces, wine everywhere. So that was a blessing in disguise because I didn't walk too far from the strip. I was still at my hotel. And as a matter of fact, I might have been. No, it wasn't in this area here because this is how you walk out to the strip, right? So if your back is facing the Park MGM Italy sign, you're facing the strip, right? But the other side of that, like where the Park Theater is on the other side, that's where the valet is. So that's where my bottle broke. So no kombucha bottles in Vegas if you're gonna go. All right. What else we got? Yeah, so let me go ahead and get to the Super Bowl. Let me go ahead and break down the Super Bowl, man. Talk about this for a little bit. So, if I can find it. Here we go. I was like, let me put this thing here. There we go. Boom. All right, so coming to you live now all of a sudden from SoFi. And these are good seats right here because I actually went to SoFi a few weeks ago when it was the Rams and the Lions, and I was way up top because from this angle here you can't even see the Jumbotron. So, but these are good seats right here. But anywho, before we get into the Super Bowl, let's talk about this. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I want to talk about the NBA trade the trade that shook up the NBA, kinda. Well, we knew it was gonna happen eventually. Hold on a second. There we go. We gotta talk about the Ben Simmons, James Harden trade. I knew this was gonna happen because the GM for the Rockets is now the GM for the Sixers, and he's been trying to get Harden ever since then, right? So, So what are my thoughts on the trade? It's gonna be interesting, because a lot of people don't like Ben Simmons. If he was on my team that I was a fan of, I wouldn't probably care too much for Ben Simmons either. But you have to admit that Ben Simmons is a talent, If you don't know the whole history or whatever, basically Ben Simmons just didn't shoot the ball, because it's like a mental thing. He just doesn't shoot the ball. He wants to ball handle, go to the hole, plays great defense. He's like 6'10" guard, 6'11" or whatever. He's a freak of nature, He got handles, very athletic, but just won't shoot the ball. And he's also pretty arrogant. He just says, well, that's not my game. I don't do that. And then when it came time to the playoffs, he couldn't make a free throw. Basically cost his team a trip to advance in the playoffs, right? So a lot of Philly fans, a lot of NBA fans are mad at, Ben Simmons. People thought he was done. He wasn't going to play again. I was like, nah, he's going to get one more shot. So then on the flip side, you have James Harden. Harden was, brought in on the Brooklyn Nets. It was the big three with Harden, Kyrie, and KD. And due to Kyrie not seeing the floor like people had expected, I think what happened was James Harden was like, look, I came here to win a championship. We all got to be on the floor. At the end of the day, everyone wasn't on the floor like that. So he's like, look, I need to move on to have a shot to get me a chip. So this is going to be interesting. I think this is going to be a new rivalry, man. I think the Sixers and Nets is going to be a rivalry. I think it's going to be it's definitely bad blood between Harden and Simmons. Definitely bad blood between those two. So I think if they meet up in the playoff, that's gonna be like the most watched like series. Um, I think the Ben Simmons trade. I think Ben Simmons on the Nets could work for the Nets because when Harden was on the Nets, you had like three scores, right? You had three scores on the joint, right? Where you had two ball handling scores and you had one scorer that just scores the ball, and that's KD, right? So when you have all those scores on the team, egos are at stake, right? So the question was, could one of the players or could two of the players resort to being a role player and just getting the ball and then scoring with it, right? And it looked like since they weren't on the floor together that much, there really wasn't a chance for them to really build chemistry like that. But now with Ben Simmons going there, Ben Simmons, since he don't want to shoot, he gonna be the point. He gonna bring the ball up, and then Kyrie is going like Kyrie knows he's gonna get his shots, or he's gonna drive to the bucket, and Kyrie or KD are both going, or Kyrie and Ben Simmons are both gonna be hitting KD to knock down that elbow jumper, so that could possibly work. And then on top of that, you get a better defender on the perimeter with Ben Simmons, so it could work out. Then with Harden going to Philly, Embiid is hooping right now. Embiid is like playing like the best basketball of his career right now, of his life, So the question is, can Harden go in there and support that, or is he gonna want to get back to his ways of playing how he used to play in Houston? And when he does that, is that gonna rub Embiid the wrong way? So it's gonna be real interesting to see how all this like plays itself out. So let's go ahead and get on with this Super Bowl talk, man. So as y'all know, the Rams won the Super Bowl. What are my thoughts, man? So I feel like the stadium itself, just the ambiance of the stadium, I don't know if I said that word right, but I feel like how it was lit and how it looked was just dope. Like that was like when I looked at because I never really watched the Rams game on TV, but when I watched this game, I was like, oh, this is a beautiful stadium. Like it just looks different. Like the lighting in the joint looked different, and how the light or how the sunlight came into the stadium was different. So that was pretty impressive. It had a Super Bowl feel to it, But all in all, I feel like the Super Bowl was kind of boring, man. Like there were a few plays that were like, oh, okay, this is it, but 2 or 3 plays, but it wasn't like that. I feel like I don't know. I feel like when it first started, the game was dope, but then I feel like around like right when Odell Beckham got hurt, that's when things kind of got boring, right? Because I felt like both teams hit a wall, and it wasn't like the back and forth that we were expecting, because I was expecting the score to be in the 30s, like 34-31. That's what I was hoping for. But I don't know. I feel like if Odell Beckham didn't get hurt, I feel like I don't know. I feel like what happened was when the Bengals had the lead, I felt like they were trying to just hold on to the lead. They weren't really trying to take any risks, And then if Odell Beckham didn't get hurt, I think what would have happened was the Rams would have scored a whole lot quicker, and that would have put the pressure back on the Bengals to have to score quick. And I think the score would have been more of a back and forth, But I think when Odell got hurt, I feel like the Bengals tried to just go prevent and just hold on to their lead, and they got kind of conservative. And the Rams kind of went into dink and dunk mode, and they were just moving the chains, and they were trying to just eat the clock up and make sure that they killed as much clock as possible, before giving the ball back to the Bengals. So I felt like the halftime show was dope. The halftime show was cool. It was definitely a highlight of the night for me, at least. Like it's always good to see local people get to rep their city during any major event. So I think like having Dr. Dre and Snoop and Kendrick represent LA for the halftime show, the Super Bowl, was like spot on, you know. I didn't really it was weird, but I didn't really care for the order of the performers. Like I felt like they should have started with someone from LA and ended with someone from LA, you know, because they had Mary J. Blige and they had Eminem and 50 Cent, you know, who are not LA natives, but they all killed it during their performances. But it would have been dope to see them start with LA, end with LA, you know. And I heard a rumor somewhere, or I read a rumor on the internet where they said what was it? They said that they were going to bring out the Tupac hologram. You know what I'm saying? So I was hoping that I went in there with expectations like, oh, they're going to bring out the Tupac, or they're going to bring out the Tupac hologram, right? And to me, it would have been dope if they had somehow worked in a Tupac, Kobe, and like a Nip hologram or something to where, you know, it represented, because I think that those three people, in addition to Dre and Snoop, like embody LA. Like they are LA. Like you can't think about LA and not think about them, you know. So that's my only constructive criticism. But other than that, I thought the halftime show was dope. I really didn't get the I don't know. Like, to me, the stage setup and everything, it was kind of weird because like they were like in a house or whatever. And the first thing I thought about was you got fans on the back of you, right? So hopefully the people that were facing the concert or facing the halftime show had to pay more than the people behind them because, or something, or maybe rotate the stage around so everyone can kind of see it while they're performing. But like I said, it was still dope. Like I enjoyed it. I watched it. And it's cool. And I think they need to do more things like that. They need to like go to, like when they have a Super Bowl in the city, what they need to do is they need to look at people from that area that are like famous, like musicians or whatever, and have them perform because it just makes it feel like it's more in tune with the city, you know. So that's that. Oh yeah, and during the game, something real funny happened to me during the game. I gotta bring this up. Gotta bring this up, man. So when I was at the game, or not at the game, when I was watching the game in Caesar's Palace, I had this yo white boy come up to me, man. And you gotta like, I was warned about them, man. But you gotta watch them yo white dudes, man. Gotta watch them dudes, man, because right, it's like halftime, and I come out from using the restroom or whatever, and this like yo white dude comes up to me, right? And this dude's like probably like late 40s, early 50s. And he's like, yo, my man, yo. He's like, yo, man, you a Bills fan? I'm like, motherfucker, you see the trapper, right? You see the jersey, right? Oh yeah, that's what's up. Hey, yo, man. Oh yeah, so you born in Buffalo? I'm like, yeah. So you know about Conway Conway the Machine, Benny Butcher, and Westside Gun, yeah, all the Griselda, like the whole Griselda clique. I know about them, yeah. Oh yeah, man, they doing their thing, yo, yeah, man, they doing their thing. And then and you know me, I wear my Cap jersey, right? So I have my Kaepernick jersey on, my Bills Kaepernick jersey, and he was like, yo, man, like. You know, he's like, yo, he's like, man, you know why Kaepernick took a knee, right? And I was like, yeah, he took a knee to shine a light on the, not shine a light, but he took a knee to speak out against all the injustices and the police brutality against black people. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, nah, that's not it. He's like, look, yo. Yo, a lot of people don't know this, man, but 2 weeks before he took a knee, he was already getting benched. So, you know, he was doing that to just bring the attention to him, and that's why I can't respect Kaepernick. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's you. Have a good day, right? But instead, he went on and was like, yo. He's like, yo, yo, yeah. And there's a part that was funny. He was like, yo, 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 yeah, I'm from Baltimore, I'm from the hood, and I went to an HBCU, and yada yada yada, and then he went into his Kaepernick spiel or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, at the end I was like, so I said, right or wrong, if that's what he did, if that's why he did it, don't you think that this type of light needed to be shown on what's going on in this part of the world? He's like, yeah, but I can't remember. I'm like, okay, so you don't get it, right? So them a lot of them yo white dudes, man, they you gotta watch them, man, because their attitude and like their demeanor and how they talk, all it is it's a veneer over how they really feel about shit. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he missed the whole point, to me, I'm not surprised. But I thought that was funny. But me, people can have their own opinion about whatever. I really don't care. Like I'm comfortable in my skin. I'm cool with like how I see the world right now. Right? Like I don't need to prove my point to anybody, But I just thought that was interesting, so I figured I'd share that with y'all. Let me go ahead and get on to the next joint. So I've been talking for how long now? Okay, I've been talking for a little minute. I want to talk about, let me actually go back to Park MGMs. I said like a black person. Park MGMs. Put an S on it. On the end of, like I'm being stupid. Those we got. Want to talk about this, man. Bam. I want to talk about this. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's good. Actually, no, I don't want it like that. I want it right. Bear with me, people. Sorry. This is taking a little minute. Okay, put this there. And let me go and shrink this down. I want to talk about the new show on Peacock, Bel-Air, which is a remake of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and it's a dramatic version of it. It's not a sitcom. It's a drama. And right now, I think they're on episode 4 right now. But very interesting show. Very interesting. Like I said, I grew up a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan. I mean, who didn't? It's a more this show is a more serious tone. Like it's a more serious tone, or it's a more serious version of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? And everything is like, let me start with let me just talk about the show, because I don't want to start with negatives and then go with pot. Like, let me just talk about it, right? So the fact that they had Jazz pick up Will from the airport to drop him off at the Bel-Air mansion at Uncle Phil's house, I thought that was different, because as you guys know, in the music, in the opening credits of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that's Quincy Jones that's driving the cab. But to me, it was like the little nuances that were pretty dope, right? Like they had the dice in the mirror, right? So when they showed the dice in the mirror of the car when Jazz was dropping Will off at the Banks estate, I was looking for the license plate to say "fresh" because that's part of the lyrics of the opening song, right? The license plate said "fresh," and the license plate said "fresh" and it had dice in the mirror, right? So I was looking for that license plate that says "fresh" on it, but they didn't do that. So I was like, maybe they did and I just missed it. So I probably gotta go back and watch it, but it didn't stand out. The one thing I do like about the show is like they're exploring more of the relationships between all of the characters, right? Like in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, it was about Will Smith. Everything was about the Fresh Prince. Like everything was about the interaction with Will and all the other characters, where this one is more about Will is kind of the center, but you get to see the relationship between Hillary and Aunt Viv. You get to see the relationship between Jeffrey and Uncle Phil, right? You get to see the relationship between Carlton and Will. Like, you see all these different like relationships. You get to see the relationship between Jazz in Will, right? Like it's not just on some like hit or miss type stuff. It's like on some deeper stuff, right? And one thing I pay attention to is I pay attention to the motivations of all the characters, right? Like what does each character ultimately want? And I think they did a good job with Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil, like he wants to become the LA DA, you know. Hillary Banks wants to basically, what does she ultimately want? She ultimately wants to, I think she ultimately wants to win her mother's approval, right? But more specifically, she wants to do so by showing that she can start her own little cooking joint, her own little cooking platform, you know. I think Carlton, I think he wants to maintain the status quo. Like he wants to maintain what he's built up over the years, like at his high school and just his reputation. Will's motivation to me is kind of like it's like a little in flux, right? Like, I feel like in Philly, he wants to just rep his city, you know? But I feel like when he gets to Bel-Air, he wants to, when he gets to Bel-Air, he wants to get back to Philly. But then when he realizes that he's not going back to Philly, it kind of is like, okay, how do I become the man, you know? But I feel like the thing that's common, or I feel like his motivation that's common between Philly and LA is he wants to look out for his boy, right? Like, so I think that to me is like his most. That's the thing that he wants the most. Is he wants to make sure that his friends or that his friend is safe, you know? He wants to make sure that his boy is safe, you know? So even before they went out, or even before things hit the fan when they were in Philly, like, he was pretty protective of his boy, you know, back in Philly. So to me, I think his ultimate motivation is he wants to make sure that his boy is good. And even when he's in Bel-Air, he's always calling back home to check on his boy, you know, like, hey, is everything good? Everything, like, you heard you got shot, man, or is everything good? Like, so I think so to me, it's like, if you don't know what a character, if you don't know what a character is like, if you don't know what their motivation is and what they need right now at this minute, you're not really gonna like. It's gonna be a hard sell, you know. But what else, man? But yeah, Carlton, man, is a dark character, man. Like I kind of like Carlton's character on the show, man. Like he even though he be cooning on the joint, the fact that he be doing them lines of coke, man, like, man, that shit is like, yeah. And I think that's like not a stretch because from the old show, I remember Carlton, they kind of alluded to it, or I remember Will caught him doing something with drugs one time, and then Will kind of like cussed him out and like checked him or whatever. But I think what they did is they just doubled down on it, and they're like, yo, this dude's a cokehead right now. You know what I'm saying? So just the tension and everything is building up. It's very everything is being layered. It's super dramatic, you know. A lot of people don't like it. Like I'm always gonna be a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan, but I mean, or I'm always gonna think that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is better. But this thing is definitely a different spin on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which is why I can respect it, you know. Ashley, they haven't really gone too much into Ashley yet. Like she's still like I think they're gonna hit on that probably like next episode or something like that, you know. But the one thing that I can almost smell coming, man, because we are in the LGBTQ era, you know, so there always has to be some kind of LGBTQ spin, which I'm not a fan of, but I mean that's just my preference, you know what I'm saying? Let me start by saying this, right? Like I don't have anything against the LGBTQ community, you know what I'm saying? It's just not my community, you know what I'm saying? But one criticism I have of that community is they reuse and they reinvent too much. Like they need to just create their own thing, you know? Like I don't like when, like for example, if I watch a cartoon or if I watch so for example, what's the there was a show on the CW, the Legends of Tomorrow, and you know, in all the comic books or whatever, maybe certain characters were gay, maybe they weren't, who knows? Like, you know what I'm saying? But leave that up to the imagination of the people. Like, if you want to think that, cool. If you don't, cool. But don't try to like crowbar things to force me to think that this is how it is now. Like that's just not right, But I was watching one episode of Legends of Tomorrow, and they brought in Constantine, and he's like basically this he's a comic book superhero that basically be dealing with he basically deals with like the devil and satanic stuff, right? So I was watching one episode of the joint, and you had two dudes or whatever that were like masculine or whatever. I'm trying to follow the plot to find out where things are going. Next thing you know, man, they tonguing each other down the throat, man. Like, not just a peck, but they were like, and I'm like, man, I don't want to see that, man. Like, I'm not a fan of PDA on TV like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But when I see two dudes just, I'm like, man, I can't watch this show no more, man. Because now the show is about two motherfuckers kissing, right? Like, now it's like every scene I watch now, I'm like, oh man, what are they gonna try to do now? You know what I'm saying? But here's what I'm saying. Here's why I say that, right? But the way things are shaping up right now, man, I'm telling you, I think what's gonna happen. I think there's gonna be some relationship between Uncle Phil and Jeffrey, like, because the scenes that they're in together, man, them joints be just a little weird, man. Like, it's like the energy's just different, like it's like there's something deeper going on between those two, like they'll say, like, someone will come in with them having a conversation, and then they'll look up and they'll like cut their eyes and look at each other, and then all of a sudden go talk, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully they leave that up to the imagination of the viewer. But I mean, I got a pretty strong feeling that since this is the LGBTQ era, they're gonna probably try to crowbar that in there. And then also too, the fact that this show was basically loosely based off of the life of Benny Medina, right? And Benny Medina is he's like a music producer, big time Hollywood guy, right? And he's openly gay, and since it's based around him, I think that maybe back in the 90s they couldn't tell the story the way they wanted to tell it, so maybe now this is their opportunity. Who knows, right? But I mean, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that I grew up off of, it was like, things, like certain things may have been left unanswered, but to me it's like, just leave that up to the imagination of the viewer. Let the viewer say, you know what, in my mind I think they're this, or in my mind I really don't care, whatever. So that's my 2 cents on it. But I think there's gonna be some that's my prediction. Just the way how things are like shaping up and how like they're filming it and just like the scenarios that they're in. I think Uncle Phil and Jeffrey got something going on. But anywho, let me go ahead and get to this comedy bump portion of the show. Before I go any further, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend and tell a friend. I can be found at AT is where it's at on all forms of social media, so follow me. But yeah, let me talk about this comedy bump, man. So one thing that happens a lot of times with like comedians at shows or even at open mics, right? A lot of times what happens is comics will be watching the show, like a comic will go up later in the lineup and they're watching the show and they're watching other comics like struggle on stage, right? Like the crowd not biting on anything, right? So a lot of times, like, I'll be sitting up there thinking to myself, oh, I can't wait to get up, man. I'm gonna smash this stage. Ooh, I'm gonna crush this stage. Ooh wee, I can't wait to get up. I can't wait till they pull me up. Ooh wee. Like, you sitting back there just chomping at the bit, right? And I make this mistake time and time again. Not every time, but time and time again. I watch comics go up and they'll struggle. And I'm like, yeah, I'm about to go up there and put my foot in their ass. And I get up there and you don't, right? So it's part of like the mental mindset, right? Like when you go to a show or a mic as a comic, you have to kind of just be humble and just be honest and be like, yo, these motherfuckers ain't laughing at this. Wow, okay, they're not laughing at dirty jokes. they ain't laughing at well-written jokes. Wow, that's a well-written joke. Why aren't they laughing? Like, you should always be asking yourself, like, why aren't they laughing, right? And a few times I thought I was gonna go up there and just murder, and I didn't, right? A few times I did, and I did well, but it's always better to err on the side of caution. So when I see comics that I know that are like, funny, not getting any laughs, or if I hear like well-written jokes being delivered well on stage and the audience isn't biting on it, I kind of getting, well, I don't worry, but now I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, lower expectations, but let's just ask questions like, why aren't they laughing at this? Okay, if I do this, now I'm analyzing jokes in my head that I'm going to do. Okay, if I do this joke and this person did this joke about that, why didn't they laugh? Okay, so maybe I got to scratch that joke out, So that's like my comedy bump. Like, it wasn't like a specific situation, but it's happened a few times. And it happens to me probably like once a year, Like, I'll be out and about, I'm watching comics on stage get up and just murder, and I'm just like, or I'll watch comics get on stage and just get up and like they get up there and they struggle, and I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to get up. Ooh, I can't wait to get up. I can't wait to get up. And then you get up there and then eat shit, and then your whole set is like off, So now I know how to just like, I'll go into a room and be like, okay, yeah, they ain't laughing at that. Oh, damn, that was a funny joke. Damn, they ain't laughing at this. Man, okay, let me go back and look at my joke. Shit, okay, I'm not doing this joke. I'm not doing this joke. I'm doing this joke. Or I'll get to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do some of these jokes. At least here's the thing, right? If you know a joke isn't going to work, it's like it works better in your advantage to go up there knowing that it won't work. Because if you go up there knowing that it won't work, now you're open to kind of like play off of it, But if you go up there like, yo, this joke is going to work no matter what, even though this audience ain't biting at nothing, and you expect that laugh and it don't come, it's gonna throw off your whole vibe. So that's what I learned that's what I learned when it comes to like just watching shows and just being in tune with what's going on in the shows, like, why aren't people laughing, and you have to kind of like put yourself in scenarios and kind of just tell yourself, okay, well, if this happens, or if this happens, how am I going to play off of it, right? And then a lot of times when like you lower your expectation, like you just give off a different energy to where like the audience kind of respects that, and they'll be more willing to like laugh along with you, because a lot of times like they know that you're not trying to really impress them, right? Like, it's more like you're just having a conversation with them and you having fun, But if you get up there, it's like improv, right? When you do improv, you could be the greatest improviser or have the greatest team of improvisers, right? But if everyone up there looks like they're not having fun, then the audience is they're not going to laugh, right? So that's kind of like what I took from improv, right? So when you do comedy, it's kind of like, when you're doing stand-up, it's more like, if it looks like you're having fun up there, no matter how bad the joke is or whatever it is, they're more willing to laugh along with you. But if you get up there like, and you put that pressure on yourself and you are like stressing, no matter how well you write a joke, no matter how well you deliver it, they're not gonna bite. But that's kind of like my comedy bump. That's more like a comedy. That's more like a comedy bumps, right? It's more like I didn't have a specific bump, but it's more of a collage of one thing that I have happened to me off and on throughout the years. So with that being said, come on, Dre. Like with that being said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, do all that fun YouTube stuff. AT is where it's at on all forms of social media. Follow me. And with that being said, I'm out, folks. Peace.